bed and I stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition and yawn and stretch and try to come to life.
What if I told you the most unforgettable chart toppers of 1980 didn't just come from the radio, they came from the big screen? Picture this. You're in a movie theater with buttery popcorn in hand, but it's not just the story gripping you, it's the music. From toe-tapping disco beats to soul-stirring ballads, the soundtracks of 1980 didn't just complement the films, they became legends in their own right. These songs weren't just background noise, they were chart-dominating hits that etched themselves into pop culture history. Today, we're counting down the 10 biggest movie soundtrack hits of 1980, ranked by their Billboard chart success. Every song on this list comes straight from a movie released that year, and every single one climbed the Billboard Hot 100. Whether you were skating under neon lights or slow dancing at prom, chances are these tunes were your soundtrack. You'll definitely recognize the duet that ruled the airwaves, and wait until you hear which pop powerhouse stormed the top spot. So don't go anywhere, because the number one song, it's the kind of hit that still turns heads today. What if one song could define your ambition, your fire, your entire youth? At number 10, Fame by Irene Cara did just that. The moment those opening notes hit and Irene belted out, "I'm gonna live forever," the world didn't just hear a soundtrack, they felt a movement. It was more than music. It was a rallying cry for anyone with a dream, anyone who wanted to be seen, heard, and remembered. The film's story about aspiring artists at a performing arts school came to life through her explosive vocals and unstoppable energy. It wasn't just a song on the charts, it was pulsing through dance studios, echoing in high school hallways, and plastered on bedroom walls in poster form. With a Billboard peak at number 4, Fame captured not only the sound of the era, but its soul. It went on to win the Academy Award for Best Original Song, and Irene Cara took home a Golden Globe for her performance. A rare and powerful combination that still gives goosebumps decades later. And if you thought Chasing Dreams couldn't sound any better, just wait until smooth jazz and velvet vocals take over the night. Coming in at number 9 is Give Me the Night by George Benson, a track that oozed sophistication while keeping your feet moving. Produced by the legendary Quincy Jones, this song shimmered with jazzy guitars, bouncing rhythms, and Benson's effortlessly rich vocals. It felt like a nighttime cruise down a city boulevard. Neon lights reflecting off the windshield, the windows down, and this song pouring out like silk. Though George Benson had already made a name for himself in the jazz world, this track expanded his reach into the mainstream, giving him one of his most recognizable hits. It peaked at number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100, but its legacy went far beyond the charts. It was a moment where jazz met R&B on the dance floor, and everyone showed up in style. This was grown-up groove at its finest. But if you thought things were smooth here, saddle up, because we're about to head south, where love is a little more complicated and a whole lot more country. At number 8, Lookin' for Love by Johnny Lee. Rolled in straight from the world of urban cowboy, bringing country flair to the pop charts in a way that hadn't been done before. The movie, set in the neon-lit world of honky-tonk bars and mechanical bulls, struck a chord with audiences. But it was Johnny Lee's plaintive, heartfelt anthem that truly stuck. Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places wasn't just a lyric, it became part of the cultural lexicon, repeated everywhere from radio DJs to late-night comedians. It was the perfect storm, a crossover country hit that spoke to the lonely heart in all of us. Set against the backdrop of a film that made country cool again. Peaking at number 5 on the Billboard charts, this song didn't just succeed, it exploded. It helped launch a country pop movement, influencing fashion, dance trends, and even bar playlists for years to come. And just as the two-step starts to fade, a disco diva arrives with something far more intimate, and it all began with a letter. At number 7, On the Radio by Donna Summer reminded the world that even the queen of disco could pull at your heartstring. Known for lighting up dance floors with anthems like Hot Stuff and Last Dance, Donna took a different route, slowing things down just enough to let the emotions seep in. With a smooth, almost shimmering rhythm, the song feels like a late-night confession whispered into the airwaves. But the real magic lies in the backstory. The lyrics were inspired by a genuine letter sent by a fan who had experienced heartbreak, and Donna, together with producer Giorgio Moroder, turned that deeply personal story into a universal ballad. On the radio doesn't just sound good, it feels true, hitting that sweet spot between vulnerability and strength. It soared to number 5 on the Billboard charts and has since remained one of her most beloved tracks, capturing that bittersweet moment when music becomes a mirror to your own heartache. And if you think a story like that is powerful, imagine what happens when a teenage voice steps into the spotlight, takes control of a grown-up sound. At number 6, Let Me Be Your Angel by Stacey Lattisaw introduced a voice so pure, so emotionally resonant, that it made people stop and say, wait, she's how old? Just 13 at the time of its release. Stacey didn't just sing this track. She delivered it with the poise and passion of someone far beyond her years. The song itself was a soft R&B lullaby wrapped in tenderness, capturing that magical space between childhood and adult, where feelings are overwhelming, but words still feel new. In a year dominated by disco and pop, Stacey carved out a space with something quieter, but just as impactful. Though the film it appeared in, Heaven's Gate, stumbled hard at the box office, this track stood tall, climbing to number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100 and launching a promising music career for Lattisaw. The song became a staple for roller rinks and slow dances, resonating with a generation of young listeners who saw their own hopes and hesitations reflected in her voice. And as innocence fades into glamour, the next hit rolls in with sparkles, synths, and a touch of electric fantasy. At number 5, Xanadu by Olivia Newton-John with Electric Light Orchestra is proof that even a critically panned film can produce pure musical gold. With roller skates, glowing lights, and a plot that blended ancient muses with modern dreams, Xanadu was nothing short of outrageous. But when Olivia teamed up with ELO, the result was a song that transcended the movie's chaotic reception. Her crystalline vocals soared over Jeff Lynne's lush arrangement, creating a euphoric blend of pop, disco, and orchestral rock. It was ethereal and electric all at once, capturing the feeling of flying through a dream you never want to wake up. The single reached number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 and helped the soundtrack achieve double platinum status. It was music that didn't care what the critics thought. It just wanted to make you feel alive, inspired, and ready to skate through a neon wonderland. And speaking of everyday magic, the next track turns alarm clocks, coffee mugs, and office cubicles into the setting for one of the most iconic anthems of working-class resilience. At number 4, Dolly Parton's 9 to 5.
A bit and I stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition and yawn and stretch and try to come to life.
Walked into the soundtrack scene with high heels, a typewriter beat, and a message that hit home for millions. From the very first line, tumble out of bed and I stumble to the kitchen, Dolly captured the chaotic rhythm of the morning grind. But this wasn't just a quirky tune about office life. It was a full-on battle cry for overworked, underappreciated employees everywhere. Written while on the set of the film, Dolly actually tapped the beat using her long acrylic nails. Those clicking sounds became part of the song's iconic rhythm, a literal nail in the system's oppressive routine. Her blend of wit, warmth, and raw talent took the song all the way to number 1 on the Billboard charts. It became more than a soundtrack. It became an anthem for change, feminism, and solidarity, wrapped in a melody you could hum while pouring your morning coffee. And now, with the countdown heating up, we're about to enter the top 3, where movie music didn't just make hits, it made history. We've reached the point in our countdown where good songs give way to greatness, where the melodies didn't just support the movies, they outshone them. These top 3 tracks didn't just climb the charts, they owned radios, ruled roller rinks, and became emotional soundtracks for people's lives. They were the kind of songs you rewound again and again on your cassette player, or danced to at weddings, proms, and living room jam sessions. They didn't just accompany scenes, they created them in your memory. And now, we're about to enter soundtrack legend territory. You might think you remember what was big in 1980, but these next 3 tracks didn't just make noise, they made history. Ready? Let's dive in. At number 3, Magic by Olivia Newton-John. Was more than just a pop hit. It was pure sonic sorcery. Pulled from the Xanadu soundtrack, Magic had a lightness and warmth that wrapped around you like a beam of sunlight. Olivia's voice was ethereal, almost otherworldly, effortlessly riding a dreamy wave of synths and strings. It wasn't just a song you heard, it was one you floated through. The lyrics, filled with hope and possibility, struck a chord with listeners in a world that felt like it was changing fast. And while Xanadu stumbled at the box office, Magic soared to the top of the Billboard Hot 100 and stayed there for 4 straight weeks. It became one of Olivia Newton-John's most successful singles and helped solidify her transition from country pop sweetheart to full-blown pop goddess. It wasn't just the sound of a movie, it was the sound of a new decade beginning. But if Magic lifted you into a dreamscape, the next track brings you crashing back to earth in the most beautiful, heartbreaking way. At number 2, Woman in Love by Barbra Streisand. Is the kind of ballad that makes time stand still. Written by Barry Gibb of the Bee Gees, the song fused his signature lush harmonies and emotional songwriting with Barbra's one-in-a-million voice. The result? A love song that doesn't ask for your attention, it commands it. Barbra didn't just sing the lyrics, she embodied them, delivering each word with a trembling power that sent chills through speakers and headphones around the world. Though not tied to a single movie narrative, the song was heavily promoted during the re-release of A Star Is Born, reinforcing Streisand's dual status as a screen siren and music icon. It topped the Billboard charts, becoming Barbra's biggest solo hit and one of the most powerful vocal performances of the decade. Woman in Love wasn't background music. It was front and center, and you felt it. And now we've reached the summit.
When eyes meet eyes and the feeling is strong.
The #1 movie soundtrack hit of 1980 isn't just a song, it's a force. Are you ready for the track that turned the music scene on its head? At number 1, Call Me by Blondie. Didn't just ride the wave of the new wave, it defined it. Birthed from a powerhouse collaboration between punk goddess Debbie Harry and synth disco mastermind Giorgio Moroder, this song was a high-voltage collision of attitude, glamour, and unstoppable rhythm. From the first pulse of the beat, it demanded your attention. Debbie Harry's snarling, yet seductive vocals brought to life the stylish grit of American Gigolo, a film that oozed mood and edge. But Call Me went beyond the movie. It became a cultural flashpoint. It was fast, flashy, and fiercely unforgettable, holding the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100 for 6 straight weeks and becoming the biggest single of the year. Debbie Harry famously wrote the lyrics in just a few hours, capturing the cool detachment and urban allure of the film with razor-sharp precision. It was the perfect fusion of punk's rebellious energy and disco's pulsating heartbeat. Call Me wasn't just the top movie song of 1980. It was a declaration of what music could be: bold, stylish, and unforgettably cool. And there you have it, the 10 most iconic movie soundtrack hits of 1980, ranked by Billboard Gold. It's wild how many of these songs still hit just as hard today. Whether you were roller skating to Xanadu, slow dancing to Woman in Love, or blasting Call Me on your Walkman like it was a personal anthem, these weren't just tracks. They were moments in time, forever linked to scenes, emotions, and memories that shaped a generation. So which one of these hits is still on your playlist? And did we miss any soundtrack gems that deserve a spot on the list? Drop your favorites in the comments. We love hearing your takes. Don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you never miss another nostalgic countdown from the golden age of movie music.